Hello folks, this is Steve AB4EL. I'm going to try to recreate something I just accidentally found on my other computer. Now, it's after midnight, but earlier today, meaning Thursday, I was having a little after the appointment conversation with one of my doctors. And he mentioned a nice nature trail that he and his family enjoyed by the Haw River. And he said, above Burlington, Ossipee. So if you go Burlington, North Carolina, we're interested in maps. See, there's Greensboro. This is the Burlington area. And if we enlarge it, what we can see here is the Haw River, H-A-W. As a matter of fact, there's a place, I always enjoy it. There's a place called Haw River. It's a town. I've been all along in here. I've been everywhere in North Carolina, to all 100 counties. So he said Ossipee, but he mentioned specifically the Shallow Ford Nature Area. And he says it's up near Ossipee, which is actually a little further up. And it sure does have a lot of trails. And we can see there's some kind of stream or brook running through it that reaches the Haw River. We can see adjacent to it there's an island in the Haw River. There's also a highway over here. And he mentioned that you can get to the river without, he said that they went down a trail and they hiked about a mile, and I kind of went, that's probably a little beyond me now. Oh, but you can get to the river without going all the way down the trail. And there's also, and I said to him, oh, I'll bet there's a kayak access. And he said, yeah, there is. Now, in North Carolina, with its beautiful rivers, in the last 10 years especially, they're called paddle trails, kayak access. There's a lot of people in North Carolina that love to kayak. So here it says Shallow Ford paddle access. And I'm looking at this. Now this is Google Maps. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, something like Riverside Church. I've never been there. They've got a special icon marker and you can see the church there. I'm sure that placement, most of the time, that kind of placement is very accurate. But something like a paddle access point, which is, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, it can't really be that far from the Haw River, can it? And I'm seeing that there's a house here, some buildings here. Now, you'll see where this is going in a minute. So let's use the satellite view. Here is power lines, and this is the power line access road. This is Geringer Mill Road. Now, notice what the name of the nature area is. Shallow Ford. What does that refer to? Actually, a couple of years I made a video talking about another area, actually on the other side of Greensboro, and it was having a similar kind of name. Geringer Mill Road, that's a local mill that uses water power to grind the local farmers' grains for flour and animal feed and whatever. Now we're talking 200 years ago. And the reason why it's called Shallow Ford is because undoubtedly this area used to be in colonial times where you could easily get a horse or a wagon or yourself across by walking through the water. Whereas, and now look, what's all this here in the river? A shallow bottom that's rocky. You can even see how shallow it is. Do you follow what I'm saying? And why would they name this after a mill? Because a local path that became a wagon trail or whatever led to, as I said, someone who, and that often became a social gathering point at things like mills and fords. But I was interested in how we can get near the river. How do the kayakers get near the river? And why is that marker so far over here? And it's showing the river. And it's showing some kind of trestle in the picture. Well, what we can see here is it says Shallow Ford Access Road, Basin Creek Trail. Now we know the name of the creek. And if we were to go to Street View, we could ask, will it help us? And it does. And I'm going to hide the imagery. I'm going to look down below, and this image capture by Google Street View is January 2023, so it's up to date. If I were to show you some of the street views of roads around here, they go back to 2007. There's the road in, and it looks like there's a parking lot. Now we look toward the bridge. Now this is probably a private property over here on the left. Notice that the road and the railings are, and this is the new way they're doing these now. So here's the Haw River, and he told, from the winter rains, if this is January, we had rains rather than snow. The river level is up. So when the satellite view was taken, do you think it was reflections off of the water? Or do you think it was when it was shallower and we could see the rocks? And as I turned it, I can see some kind of signboard here. And I'm looking down here, and I can see a ramp right here, right down at the bottom, like this 45-degree angle up from the word Google. And there's some kind of railing or something there. All right? So let's go back. It's a private property on the right. We can see a house and somebody's car. And I don't know if the street view will take us in. It did. Isn't that great? So now there's all kinds of stuff here, and here's a main trail. There's some kind of pavilion over there. Ooh, I wonder how far they went in. I didn't do. All right, let's see. There's a gate here, I think. Okay, so I have to turn around. And here's a trail that goes over to where that whatever it is that I could see from the road, that's the paddle access. Got it? That's the paddle access. It's not up the road. So, I thought, let me get a little more information online, because I know there are websites for these paddle access organizations. Shallow ford paddle access. The Haw River Trail. We've got the Deep River Trail, which was initiated just a couple of years back, and they're making progress on it. People love it. And it's being constantly extended as people sign on to cooperating and letting part of their land be crossed by pedestrians. Right down there at Riverside Park. I just put up an episode where I went down there. That's a part of the Deep River Trail. Now we have something from Alamance County, alamancenc.com. Alamance is a county. Shallow Ford Natural Area, Alamance Parks, and they've got something about it. The hours, the rules, the shallow ford activities. Here's a picture. There's a bridge over that creek. That's not the Haw River. That's a bridge over that creek. That might be interesting. That must be a beautiful walk in there. Well, then I wanted to click on this, the Haw River Trail. Oh, is this page as big as I can get it? Really? It appears to be there's something wrong with my browser. Hey Google Chrome, what's the story? So what I did was I clicked on it. And nothing happened. Oh, I know what this is. Excuse me. Oh, this is good. This is actually something else. But now I've had it happen on this machine and not just the other one. I can tell you what this is. There's a defect in the Google Chrome browser where under certain kinds of rendering conditions, it freezes. You notice how I just tried to magnify more and it wasn't doing anything? Well, I held down the control key and I went minus, and it's changing but the page is not changing, but it says it's 200%. It says it's 500%, and it's because even though that part of it still works, the page is actually frozen in the browser. The browser is... You want me to prove it? You see how I'm going to copy the URL, go to here, paste and go to. What's the magnification now? What did it say the magnification was here? 400, 500%? See, when I go to the page again on a live tab, not one that's frozen because of a defect in the Google Chrome code, it really is. Now, what I wanted to do was click on the link and go to that website, the Haw River Trail. But when I did it over here, it did nothing because this was frozen. So we'll do it here. And we'll see if what happened before on the other machine happens now. Now, up there's an X. What it says is it's trying to get that website to respond. And that website seems to be frozen, except that's not the error message I got before on the other machine. It failed, but that's not the message I got. Let's try to reload it. Let's see if we can actually see. There's an X up here. It's not responding. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to open another browser, Firefox, and I'm going to put in the same URL. And it's having trouble also. And by the way, Firefox browser doesn't freeze. Let's see what happens when it times out. We have to wait for it to time out. Now, it kind of looks like maybe it's trying to answer. Now let's try the Brave browser. This is also based on the Chromium project, but it does it a little different. And it knows immediately, sorry, that page is missing. Do you want to check if a saved version is available on the Wayback Machine? So this is the standard error page that's built into the Chromium open source project. The arrow is circular. This is the best it can do. We're going to try again, and then I'm going to show you what I suspect is going on. It has responded, but it's responded with nothing. But this is not the error page that I got on the other machine. Now, and I'm going to have to try to piece those two recordings together. Do you see this symbol right here? Oh, now this one is frozen. Now this page, this tab is frozen. Oh, this one came back? Or is this the one okay, this is the live one. Can you see this symbol here with a W? What this, oh, just so that you can see what it actually is supposed to look like. Just so that you can see what the page is supposed to look like. You see this here? Haw River Trail. Shallow Ford Natural Area to Indian Valley. Shallow Ford Natural Area, 1955 Geringer Mill Road, Elon, North Carolina. I've been there. It's the Indian Valley Paddle Access is another one. So what we see on the map, which way does the river flow? It flows from here, the natural area, down this way, not the other way. It flows north to south. And here's the Indian Valley Paddle Access. So you can put your kayaks in up there, but you have to have at least one person who will meet you down at Indian Valley Paddle Access. See, that's why they call them paddle trails. And take you back up here to get your vehicles and then drive back again to put your kayaks up on top of the, just in case you've never thought about it, okay? You could kayak on a lake and you end up coming back to the same place where you launched. But when you go on a paddle trail on the Haw River, the chances are that to paddle back might be impossible. And if you don't understand why, look for a YouTube channel called River Kings. River Kings. They're North Carolina people, and they're into paddling. And you can probably find a video where they went in at Shallow Ford and came out at Indian Valley. And you'll see what the ride along the way is and why you might not be able to paddle back. All right, but this is what the website, the page for Shallow Ford Natural Area on. All right, but we're looking at what Google cached. So sometime recently, April 18th, it's a month later. That's when they captured this page. Sometimes they're showing you a page that they captured a copy of it 2 hours ago. I don't know how they choose. Now, why did I show you this? Because if we click on it, there's the X up there, and it's not doing anything. There it is. Beautiful. This is what I wanted to show you. There has been a critical error on this website, and here's the important part. Learn more about troubleshooting WordPress. Remember I was going to show you that W icon? WordPress. That may not mean anything to you, but WordPress is a system that you can rent to do your website, and it has a lot of plugins and scripts and stuff, so you don't have to invent everything. Now this is a web, this is not the Google saying it was HTTP 500. This is not my browser interpreting that with its own version of to show you an error page. This comes from WordPress. And why am I getting excited? Now I wanted to show you that specifically. WordPress is really popular for people like organizations and businesses that want to get on the web to build websites, like the Haw River Paddle Trail folks, or Paddle Access. Now, earlier today, I was looking at Bleeping Computer. You know I'm not promoting anything or recommending anything. Bleeping Computer, which I look at every day. Now let me bring the scale down. Let's go there and let me show you something that when I saw that error message, bingo. We're scrolling down and we want this article. May 18th, that's yesterday, noon. That's about 13 hours ago, 13 and a half hours ago, 13 hours ago, almost exactly. Hackers target vulnerable WordPress Elementor plugin after proof of concept released. Hackers are now actively probing for vulnerable essential add-ons for Elementor plugin versions on thousands of WordPress websites in massive internet scans. It's going on right now, attempting to exploit a critical account password reset flaw disclosed earlier this month. Do you understand that when I was on the other machine and I tried to go, just because of what I had a discussion with my doctor about this Shallow Ford nature trail and the kayak access, and I saw that, but I remembered that earlier today I had read this. I actually only saw the headline. I didn't bother reading it, because every month there's another exploit on WordPress. Scale of exploitation on May 14, 2020, first time I'm reading it. Researchers published a proof of concept exploit on GitHub, making the tool widely available to attackers. At the time, a Bleeping Computer reader and website owner reported that their site was hit by hackers who reset the admin password by leveraging the flaw. Still, the scale of the exploitation was unknown. That was 4 days ago. A WordFence report, notice WordFence, WordPress, a WordFence, that's people who are looking for flaws and flaw reports on WordPress. Like there's ones that specialize in Microsoft stuff, ones that specialize in Amazon stuff. A WordFence report published yesterday sheds more light, with the company claiming to observe millions of probing attempts for the presence of the plugin on websites and has blocked at least 6,900 exploitation attempts. So WordFence is a specialized anti-attack specialist. I think I've mentioned them sometime in the past. WordFence, from innovator to enterprise, trust the global leaders in WordPress security. WordPress welcome to the world's most popular. Now I got to start it again. Welcome to the world's most popular website builder. 43% of the web is built on 43% of the web is built on WordPress. More bloggers, small businesses, and Fortune 500 companies. I'm not promoting anything. I'm reading it. I'm showing you the significance of that error on the page paddle trail organization. WordPress and any other options combined join the millions of people that call WordPress.com home. Get started. I'm not promoting anything. WordFence. A comprehensive security solution for WordPress. WordFence is a global team of WordPress security analysis, threat researchers, software engineers, and support staff, blah, 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 blah. A WordFence report published yesterday sheds 6,900, but those are their customers. What about the ones that are not buying their tactical support? On the day after the disclosure of the flaw, WordFence recorded 5 million probing scans looking for the plugin's readme.txt file, which contains the plugin's version information and hence determines if the site is vulnerable. Most requests come from just 2 IP addresses. Let's use a Microsoft utility, NS Lookup. DNS Google can't find it, non-existent domain. Has it been taken down, or is it simply unregistered and somebody is using the address surreptitiously? Misspelled it. Computers are stupid. They can't read my mind. Non-existent domain. Sounds sneaky to me. As for the exploitation attempts, the IP address, and it's yet another one, has had a considerable volume utilizing the... So this one, see, it's a completely different number. I can't easily make that bigger, so what I'll do is server1.stylezone.bg. So it's a registered domain. What country is BG? .us would be US. .uk would be. .il would be Israel. .in would be India. Two, what do you want to bet it's in Africa? Two-letter country codes. Let's use Wikipedia. BG, Bulgaria. I was wrong. It's Bulgaria. See, Benin is in Africa. Burundi is in Africa, BI. So I was kind of taking, oh, but Bermuda is BN. And BN is Brunei Darussalam, which is next to Indonesia. BQ is Bonaire. That's an island in the Caribbean. Do you know all these places? BS is Bahamas. BW is Botswana. I'm going to have to fix that. Excuse me. As for exploitation attempts, the IP address that in Bulgaria, supposedly, that doesn't mean that people are actually in Bulgaria. They're using a machine in Bulgaria. They're paying like this to you, and the owners of those machines may or may not know what those people are doing. Has a considerable volume utilizing the POC exploit released on GitHub. Other high-ranking attacking IPs count between 100 and 500. So there are other IP addresses, and here's the blocked exploit attempts by IP, and there are the numbers, and I can see they're mostly IV version 4, but there's one there that's IP version 6. This one right here. Website owners using the essential add-ons for Elementor plugin are advised to apply the available security update by installing blah, 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 blah. But the question is, if like 43% of the websites out in the world are using this, does WordPress tell all of them about it? Do they have a contact system? Can they do what Microsoft does? When Microsoft hits one for like Windows that's super vulnerable, whether you have updates turned on or not, if your computer in any way contacts Microsoft, they force it onto your machine because they know your machine is turned on and active. Does WordPress do that? Do you know how much money that costs? Most people are using WordPress because they don't have a lot of money for a website. They may be running it off a computer in their closet. You think I'm kidding? See, I'm interested in this stuff. When I use the NS Lookup, I wasn't trying to, I could put that IP number into the browser and see what would happen. Why would I do something that stupid? When I use the NS Lookup, I'm calling on something that Windows knows about. It's a utility in Microsoft Windows, and it uses my preferred DNS, domain name service, lookup, which is 8888, which is Google. And if Google doesn't know the name, nobody does. Excuse me. Got it? I'm just explaining it. I'll bet you they're down because I'll bet that the Haw River Paddle Trail organization is down for the reason I've just spent 20 minutes explaining to you. Betcha. See, headlines can be esoteric and what connection? All I was doing is I wanted to go to the page for that paddle access because they might have more pictures and whether there are access prohibitions or blah, blah, blah. But I can't do that because there's some critical error. You know why it's doing that? Because there was an alarm that's to remind me of something, and I can't hit the right thing to turn it off, so every 10 minutes it keeps bothering me now. I don't think very much of the people who wrote the operating system on this flip phone. They think they're geniuses, but they've got a lot to learn. Okay? He said it's really beautiful, my doctor. I'll think about going up there soon. Steve AB4, y'all. Just letting his mind wander and doing a little brainstorming and having fun, saying see you in 73.